We've recently learned that Donald Trump does plan to meet with Kim Jong-un, the dictator of North Korea. And we have a few more details about that meeting, although at the moment we don't know exactly when it'll take place or where it'll take place. Now, South Korean envoys announced that Kim told them he is willing to begin negotiations with the United States on abandoning nuclear weapons and that he was to suspend all nuclear and missile tests while engaged in talks. Now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders says that Trump will accept the invitation to meet with Kim Jong-un at a place and time to be determined. She also had this to say. Take a look.
This maximum pressure campaign and this process has been ongoing since the president first took office. For the first time in a long time, the United States is actually having conversations from a position of strength, not a position of weakness like the one that North Korea finds itself in due to the maximum pressure campaign. Look, what we know is that the maximum pressure campaign has clearly been effective. We know that it has put a tremendous amount of pressure on North Korea. The maximum pressure campaign, we're not letting up. We're not going to step back or make any changes to that.
So the reason why she keeps talking about the maximum pressure campaign and how Trump is going at it from a place of strength is because we know that the right wing typically argues that you should never have conversations with dictators or terrorists. You shouldn't negotiate with them. And it seems as though Trump is entering diplomatic talks, and so they're kind of having to, cover up for some of the statements that they had previously made. Now, a senior administrative official said the following: at this point, we're not even talking about negotiations. What we're talking about is an invitation by the leader of North Korea to meet face to face with the president of the United States. And there are understandably some people who are skeptical about this, considering what has happened historically with North Korea. Now, to be clear, Trump is the first sitting president who's agreed to meet with the North Korean dictator. In the past, former presidents have done so. And in the past, North Korea has made promises that they have reneged on. So for instance, the 1994 armed framework got North Korea to freeze its plutonium production for a time, but eventually fell apart during George Bush's administration after the US intelligence discovered that North Korea was secretly pursuing technology for a uranium enrichment program. And so another fear that I'm hearing, and I myself have, is that Trump's an idiot. So I
was not expecting.
I know, that was so smoothly delivered.
So I think that diplomatic talks are much better than acting like a juvenile on Twitter. However, I am a little concerned that Trump will somehow get tricked or baited into something that could be disastrous.
Okay, I gotta add Lindsey Graham's quote to that because I thought this was the funniest thing. And I'm gonna agree with Trump in a second, so that'll be fun. But Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, says, a word of warning to North Korean President Kim Jong-un. The worst possible thing you can do is to meet with President Trump in person and try to play him.
Jesus, you gotta say it like him. Yeah. Don't try to play him.
Right.
He's gonna mess you up real good.
If you do that, it will be the end of you and your regime.
Can you talk like that all the time?
Okay. In other words, the South Carolina senator thinks the president's an idiot and he's gonna get played.
No.
So, and he's telling this actually really young leader of North Korea, who we have no reason to believe is anything but an idiot, hey, listen, there's no way you're gonna out-stupid our guy. So don't try to play him, okay? The rest of us are watching.
No, I have a different read on it, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that Lindsey Graham and also Cory Gardner, who's also a senator, are setting the stage for potential war.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
no,
they're pushing
we're
for
both
it.
right.
Yeah. So, and the reason why I think they're pushing for it is because get a load of Cory Gardner's quote. He says the following: if the result of this meeting is not verifiable concrete steps to denuclearization, it will be a failure. And the president is going to be under tremendous pressure because the new red line has been set to act. And he follows that up with, if a meeting with the president of the United States doesn't achieve this result, what is left to diplomacy?
So let me just say a couple of really important things here. First of all, I can't stand when both establishment politicians and establishment media talk about red lines. shut the hell up about red lines. All it does is push us further towards war. But they both like revel in it. Like, a red line, it's gotta be a red line. If we don't get everything we want out of these negotiations, it's a red line, we gotta go to war, we gotta go to war. Oh, they crossed the red line. Shut up,
so stupid.
Right? And Lindsey Graham has in the past said, who cares about the Koreans? Not just North Koreans. He said a life in America is worth so much more than South Korean lives. So in other words, if we go to war and like millions of South Koreans die, who cares? They're not Americans. We don't value their lives, even though South Korea is one of our top allies. So yes, Anna, they are bloodthirsty warmongers. But also, the only other reason to say don't play him is because you think Trump's an idiot.
Yeah.
Right? He would have never said that about Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney, in his mind, wouldn't get played, right? Nobody had to warn people not to play Obama because they know he's smart, right? So it's both things are true. Now, so why do I agree with Trump? Look, am I naive? Do I not realize that this is partly deflection on his part? Of course it is. He's got a world of trouble here. The Mueller investigation, Stormy Daniels, the chaos in the White House, everybody's leaving, panic after panic. So he comes out and makes a bold statement and everybody's like, oh, squirrel, right? Okay. So I know that that's part of the strategy here, but nonetheless, we should talk to our enemies because talking to your friends doesn't do you any good, right? You're already friends. In order to have peace, you must talk to your enemies, even if they are terrible people, like the leaders of North Korea. They have concentration camps for their people. We're not unaware of that. Even if they're perpetual liars, but on that front, you'll never outlie our guy, okay? Right. And for all the times they reneged, I'm not unaware of that. I'm perfectly aware of that. But nonetheless, talking is better than not talking. This idiotic conservative idea of, no, me no talk to enemy, me write about everything, me draw a red line. No. So if Trump's gonna go talk to them, I don't care for what reason, God bless, go forward. Who knows, maybe the two idiots will get in a room and hey, we're just like each other. And maybe they'll get a peace deal. It's unlikely, but it's better than not trying.
Can I say two things? The first thing is that North Korea, it was interesting when they agreed to that framework before to freeze its plutonium production, but then it fell apart during the George Bush administration because the George Bush intelligence community said that they found out they were cheating. Now, I don't know if there's ever been an intelligence failure during the Bush administration, but I'm guessing maybe that was one. So the number two thing is, North Korea has wanted to end their nuclear program for a while. They've offered to end their nuclear program, and we keep turning them down. The last one, Barack Obama turned them down, and their demand was, hey, could you quit doing war games with B-1 bombers off our coast? I really appreciate it. And Barack Obama said, go pound sand, we're not gonna stop doing that. And so they were like, okay, well, we see what you did in Libya, we see what you did in Iraq, and we're gonna try to keep getting our nuclear weapon. And so that's what's been going on, and I think it's a really good chance that Trump actually does pull this off and get them to agree to dismantle their nuclear, because they've been wanting to for a while.
So, one, I want to know how Trump's going to respond when he finds out that talking to your enemies was Obama's idea, because that was what Obama said with Iran. What he wanted to do is open up diplomatic relations with your enemy. That's Obama's idea. I hate to break it to you. Also, typically what happens, the reason that sitting presidents haven't ever met with the leader of North Korea, Clinton was about to at the end of his term, but the North Korean leader backed out of a promise and found out that he backed out of it. And so the idea was that meeting with the president of the United States is a way for North Korean leaders to elevate their image, to be able to see the two next to each other. The difference is, in previous situations, the president of the United States hasn't viewed a meeting with a North Korean leader as a way to elevate his own image.
Oh, that's a great point.
And that's what Trump is doing. He sees this as a way to do something that no one else has done, without questioning why no one else has done it. And I will say this, the fundamental dynamic of North Korean sanctions is we levy sanctions against them. They have either some act of contrition. We go back to the negotiating table, not sending the sitting president, but we send a former one or some diplomat, and then we ease sanctions, and then Once the food runs out, the North Koreans start rattling their sabers, and then we reveal that there's some other way they've enriched plutonium, and then we get mad again, and then we levy more sanctions, and it just goes in circles. And the only difference is who we sent and what we said to them. And in this situation, Trump thinks he's gonna make some grand new breakthrough, when in reality, this is just the part where we send some diplomat to talk to the head of North Korea. And the final thing I'll say is it's very possible to me that all of the escalation that we saw recently in terms of developing nuclear weapons was just so the North Koreans could participate in the freaking Olympics. These guys thought it was so awesome that Dennis Rodman came to visit. They used their nuclear arsenal as a bargaining chip to gain credibility, not abroad, but at home. So they can say that they went and did what they could do and they keep everything in line. It's very tenuous, but I think that, who knows, but to be able to show that picture to everyone and not have to Photoshop it anymore when they put it on whatever closed circuit television they run 24/7 there.
And they've used, terroristic threats as a bargaining chip for the previous Olympics.
It's the guy with the grenade in a movie being like, ooh.
Yeah.
I understand all that. And look, guys, so we want to criticize Trump. It's super easy. And on this one, for example, he said when they asked him, is this for negotiations? Because his White House is saying it's not negotiations, because if it's considered negotiations and they don't achieve any results, it'll seem like a failure. But Trump's an idiot, doesn't know that. So when they ask him if it's negotiations, he says, quote, it's almost beyond that. Oh no, don't do that, right?
You have
and then he says, if the negotiations go well, quote, hopefully you will give me credit. Okay, now having said that, guys, the part I don't agree with, and I want to be clear about this, is like, so they want credibility. Okay, but we're playing nonsense games. Whether we give them credibility or not, they control North Korea, period. It's like Hamas, I will not recognize Israel. Okay, but it still exists, it's right there, right? So it's such a stupid diplomatic game, and I love diplomacy, I believe in diplomacy, that's why I think Trump should go. But these things where they're like, no, technically we will not recognize you, and you want credibility, but they already have North Korea.
Yeah.
They already have it. So we might as well at least negotiate and try to do something with it.
There's an element of also, we just told South Korea to go F itself when it came to steel. And the current president of South Korea ran on a platform of de-escalating tension with North Korea and won. And so that is like maybe a bargaining chip. I do think that the thing that takes priority is Trump trying to be the first one to do something.
And he wants to reinforce the notion that he's a great negotiator, something that obviously we're very skeptical about.
You just have to be able to offer some better setup to North Korea than the fact that they can shoot off a missile and everyone's afraid to die.
Yeah.
Good luck.
By the way, how did they get Trump to agree to the meeting? The South Korean National Security Office head
has porn stars.
No, but he said to him. He said, we have to thank Trump for his leadership and maximum pressure policy. And together with international solidarity, it brought the parties to the verge of talks. In other words, he was like, oh, Donald Trump, you are so good with your maximum pressure policy. Trump's like, yes. Okay, what do you need me to do? And yes, they want to ease the steel tariffs. He's like, we can talk about that. How big are my hands? They're big, aren't they? Right? And you want me to do talks with the North Koreans? Done. But nonetheless, it is the right thing to do. If you want to get the whole Young Turks show every single day, become a member, tytnetwork.com/join. And once you do, you'll be saying,
I'm like a smart person.
Or you might say,
I think it's weird.
Or you might say,
oops.
No, that won't be that one. It won't be that one. It'll be great, trust me. tytnetwork.com/join.